Here's an AFN News update for you. I'm Bronson Woodruff. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said today his cabinet will not meet to approve the agreement for a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip and the release of dozens of hostages until Hamas backs down. His office is accusing Hamas of reneging on parts of the agreement in an attempt to gain further concessions. Netanyahu said a last-minute crisis with Hamas was holding up Israeli approval of the long-awaited ceasefire agreement. His office did not elaborate. Meanwhile, Israeli strikes across the Gaza Strip have killed at least 72 people since the ceasefire deal was announced. That's according to Gaza's health ministry. Palestinians in Gaza reported heavy Israeli bombardment overnight as people were celebrating the ceasefire deal. In previous conflicts, both sides have stepped up military operations in the final hours before ceasefires go into effect as a way to project strength. Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody will take Marco Rubio's seat in the U.S. Senate. Governor Ron DeSantis announced that today. Elected as the state's top law enforcement officer back in 2018, Moody campaigned on a pledge to voters that she would be a prosecutor and not a politician. Along with DeSantis, Moody boosted her political profile during the onset of the COVID-19 lockdowns, calling on the federal government to hold China responsible for the outbreak. Before running for statewide office, Moody worked as a federal prosecutor. In 2006, she was elected to the post of circuit judge in Hillsborough County, home to Tampa. One by one, all the president-elect's men and women are falling into place in his cabinet. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth now appears on track for confirmation after a fiery Senate hearing where Democrats tried to discredit his character and lack of high-profile management experience for the top U.S. military job. But Hegseth, himself an experienced combat fighter, says his job will be to turn the nation's military back into a lethal fighting machine. He also vowed to get rid of the DEI policies that were promoted during the Biden years. Positive outcomes also appear imminent for Pam Bondi and for Marco Rubio. The Wisconsin Supreme Court is scheduled to hear arguments today over whether a Republican-controlled legislative committee's rejection was unconstitutional. The committee had previously rejected a state agency rule that would ban the practice of conversion therapy for people of the LGBTQ+ lifestyle. Today's case is also part of a broader effort by Wisconsin's Democratic Governor, Tony Evers, who has vetoed Republican bills aimed at keeping males from competing in female sports, to rein in the power of the GOP-controlled legislature. In broad terms, conversion therapy allows for counseling people who may have chosen the homosexual lifestyle. Advocates seeking to ban the practice want to forbid mental health professionals in the state from counseling clients with the goal of changing their sexual orientation or their gender identity. That'll do it for this AFN News Update, but by no means is that everything happening in the world. Don't forget, our website is afn.net. You can go there for much more news from a Christian perspective. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Bronson Woodruff.